First up, we're looking at a story that has once again sparked a massive debate over how women are treated on the big screen. It's a familiar pattern in the film industry. A movie becomes a massive commercial hit, crossing over 236 crore rupees at the worldwide box office. This is just the beginning, but the conversation surrounding this particular film has turned incredibly sour. The film in question is Peddi, directed by Buchi Babu Sana. While the producers are celebrating the box office numbers, social media is erupting with anger, raising serious red flags over the alleged hyper-sexualization of the female lead, Achiyamma, played by Janhvi Kapoor. And viewers and critics alike are pointing out that instead of developing a meaningful character, the filmmaking reduces this character and Janhvi Kapoor's role to a mere visual spectacle, a romantic prop. That's it. The camera work has faced heavy accusation for prioritizing her body over her character depth. Audiences have highlighted several deeply troubling sequences in the film as well. And it begins right from her introduction shot. Many viewers say the camera reportedly focuses on her body for an extended period before even showing her face. And there is a non-consensual kissing scene portrayed as romance, a dialogue where the hero boasts about touching her without permission or consent, and a public humiliation scene where a woman's degradation is used simply as a setup for the hero to sweep in and save the day. Once again, mainstream cinema stands accused of glamorizing stalking and treating non-consensual behavior as romance, as love, problematic behavior as love, quote unquote. And then came the alleged leaked chats from Janhvi Kapoor's fan clubs. In these messages, purportedly from Janhvi Kapoor herself, she talks about telling the director no body shots, about her co-actor Ram Charan stepping in on set and putting his foot down, and about her frustration with how the camera was being used. She says in one of those purported chats, allegedly, that they talk about a close-up but they come in for a cleavage shot. And her alleged words were, and we quote her directly, they'll say close-up and put camera on your cleavage, quote unquote. Her team has not independently authenticated these chats, but the internet has run away with them, and they have added a sharp new dimension to an already heated debate. Director Buchi Babu Sana has since apologized. He has said it was never the intention to objectify or disrespect any female character. He has ordered edits to the theatrical cut, but the film is already out. The scenes are already in public memory. An apology after release, after 236 crore rupees at the box office, raises questions of its own. And this apology feels like a temporary band-aid on a much larger systemic issue. Data from Oxfam, it shows that objectification is present in a staggering 88% of films that were studied. Women are framed as visual spectacles, their characters written to support male stories, their bodies used to commercial tools to sell the film before it even opens. And the pattern repeats. The controversy erupts, apologies are issued, and the next film does the same thing again. We've got an esteemed set of panelists, the right kind of voices that you need to listen to. And the big question that we'd like to underscore here tonight. If 88% of Indian films objectify women, is this a few bad directors, or is this a structural problem that the industry is simply not willing to fix? And when a director apologizes after the film has already made 230 plus crore rupees, is that accountability or is that now damage control? As long as audiences keep watching and box office keeps rewarding these films, does the industry have any real reason to change at large? Kasturi Shankar, actor and social activist, is going to be with us. Gautam Chintamani, author, writer, film historian, with us on the broadcast. Many thanks, Gautam. And Girish Wankhede, film trade analyst, with us on the broadcast as well. You see, Gautam, let's get the snowball rolling here. The alleged leaked chats, let's focus on that. They suggest that Janhvi Kapoor may have raised concerns during the production itself, reportedly saying that they say close-up and then they come and take cleavage shots. If this is true, does this indicate a deeper trust deficit between the actresses and the filmmakers? I mean, it's one thing to glamorize a movie, but then to voyeuristically linger at some of those body shots, that paints a completely different picture.
Namaskar, you're absolutely right. In fact, I remember that in 2017 when I wrote my book, Pink, the Inside Story, which looked at the making of the film Pink, but more importantly, it looked at how women were depicted in popular Hindi cinema. There was a case that I refer to in the book. This was reported in Australia. A person of Indian origin who had gone there to study was charged with stalking And when the when the issue went up to the magistrate, he cited innocence, saying that this was his culture. And when the magistrate asked
Wow.
that, what do you mean that this is your culture? He said, Ki, I grew up watching these films, and in this, na mein haan hona, inkar mein ikrar hona, and the way women were depicted, I believe that these are normal. And I think that, the person was let off lightly because the judge kind of understood that point and the mindset. But that is not the point that we're talking about here. The thing is that if Janhvi had not, if these messages, these alleged messages had not come out,
Yeah.
it was not as if we would not be aware of what was being discussed here. This is something which is very, very inherent to popular massy films now. There is an argument which can be made that this is just 10% of the film. There's also an argument which can be made that as long as people like and people are thronging to the cinema halls, but people will throng to anything which is of that hyped in nature. But that does not mean that this is not an issue. This is a very big issue. This is an inherent issue, and I think that actors wield a little more power than what is being made out here. If Ramcharan Teja, according to the messages, had mentioned this to the director, then I think it's completely damage control more than anything else. Chal jata to theek tha. That should not be the attitude, and I think that this is something bigger than that. At the end of the day, cinema is not an accident.
Fair enough.
Filmmaking is not an accident. These decisions are very consciously taken, and it's time that they are called out while they're being done and not allowed. Of course, uh, the filmmakers can give you any kind of argument, but the director to apologize now after the film has come out and after it has
Yeah.
made
Yeah.
the kind of killing, this is just damage control to my eye, to my sensibilities.
Okay, Gautam, many thanks for your opening submissions. You're right. I mean, to normalize sexual assault, to normalize this kind of problematic behavior, I mean, you shouldn't be given a free pass to just run away with it. Kasturi Shankar now joins us on the broadcast as well. Kasturi, you see, the outrage is not simply about glamour. Critics and many of those that have watched the film, they point to specific scenes where Janhvi Kapoor's character is introduced through those voyeuristic, lingering body shots before her face is even shown. I mean to say, what point does cinematic glamour become objectification? Because we know about glamorization, glamorizing the films, but to what extent? I mean, Masi Masala is one thing, but then you've got voyeuristic soft porn that's happening on the other side. And the director has now apologized, just like Gautam was talking about. He's promised edits, but all of this has happened after the release. How do you look at it? What's your assessment? If scenes are being changed after public backlash, I mean, it suggests that the audience has identified a problem, but the creators and the actors who worked in it either missed it or then chose to ignore it. What's really happening here?
Okay, I want to actually address 3 points. Number one, we
Okay.
will get to the objectification and the depiction of a female lead in a movie. We will get to that. But the first point is not even about how women are depicted in the movies. I did see a caption here on this program which said it happens all the time in the South. That's not about the depiction of women, because there are movies in the North which copy from movies from the West. So the objectification of women is a shortcut that a lot of filmmakers resort to. It's unfortunate that in a movie starring a superstar, a top actor of Telugu movies, people have to resort to that because they don't need that. The opening is not about the lead actor's cleavage. The opening is all about Ram Charan Teja, and they didn't need it. I think the voyeuristic tendency is a reflection of the filmmakers more than the film audience itself in Telugu. So let me first clarify that. But
Okay.
the second thing is, the more important thing is consent. If you wanted to show a woman wearing it all on screen, there are hundreds of actors who would actually be okay with that kind of an opportunity. You do not need to deceive someone. That too of the
Absolutely,
stature
absolutely.
of a Janhvi Kapoor, and you're going to go around and cheat on her. Why would you need to do that?
Yeah.
What about consent? I mean, maybe if you had told her this is what you want to do, and she says yes, that's absolutely fine. Look at the clothes she's wearing. She's aware that nobody in Andhra dresses like that. Let's be honest. She's aware that she is there for the glamour quotient and she's playing along with it. Why would you need to, you know, subvertively, surreptitiously expose her even more? What's with that?
That's a great point.
That's crazy because you could have told her maybe she would have said no, maybe she would have said yes, maybe she would have said that would cost more. We don't know that. But you didn't give her a chance. You didn't get you consent.
In some of those alleged,
Lack of
alleged and leaked
professionalism.
chats, Kasturi, Janhvi also says that, I had such a hard time making them understand, don't do this. I mean, she's put it out a couple of times before the shot was actually even taken. And there's also a scene. I mean, how sexual assault is being normalized. There's a scene where, Ram Charan's character also says that, I'm going to touch her without consent. So this is the problematic behavior which is being, pushed out surreptitiously, like you said, as romance and love.
That scene was called out. Fortunately for India, thank God. I mean, I'm proud to be a Hyderabadi. That scene was called out left, right, and center by the people who watched the movie and were completely shocked because it's unnecessary. And number two, let's not forget, people who glorify their hero, they don't want to see a Ram Charan groping a woman in the dark. Yeah, come on. That's demeaning to the hero. That's bad portrayal of both the girl and the guy.
Absolutely.
So thank God that people called it out. And that's why the director is apologizing, because I'm pretty sure that Ram Charan would have given him a piece of his mind at some point.
100%.
The movie is getting, it's backfiring on the movie. But I'm saying at the end of the day, it comes down to professionalism. Depiction of women, there's been everything. We've seen everything in Hindi movies. We've seen everything in Indian movies. So, the whole gamut of portraying women in every kind of sleazy manner is not new to Indian movies, okay? Voyeurism is not new to Indian movies. That's one point.
There are two prime points that have come out here, Kasturi, two prime points that you've raised. Is that first, that filmmakers are still confusing harassment, with courtship. That has to be a big no-no. And the consent part that you just spoke about. You can always ask, why do you want to cheat the actress? Why, if the actress says yes to a particular scene, then go ahead with it. Why do you want to, cheat her into a sleazy shot? You're absolutely right. Janhvi Kapoor knows what her actual role over there is. But, this is also a story about how a tribal community is being marginalized. She hails from a tribal community. She could have been given so much more power, except that she is dismissed and reduced to just a single romantic prop. I'm going to come back to you, Kasturi. We also have with us Mr. Wankhede, who's been waiting very patiently. Mr. Wankhede, you see, critics are arguing that Peddi is not the only example here. It is but the latest example in a long tradition that includes films like, you've got Kabir Singh, Arjun Reddy, Animal People Spokes. Indian cinema, why has it struggled for decades with romanticizing problematic male behavior at large? And this, of course, deals into patriarchy and the institutionalized patriarchy that we deal with as well.
Of course, it is not only South Indian cinema, but even in our Hindi films, if you see the films of 80s, especially of Mithun Chakravarti and Dharmendra and Shatru Sinha and many stars, there was not much of an actress or a main lead girl has to do. She was just a showpiece. And if that was not enough, then we used to have the item songs where a girl will come, she will gyrate on the music and she will be pushed as the another eye candy for the film. So it is a regular practice for all the Indian films. They write the stories which are actually author backed for the male character, and female characters are just the showpieces. They just want to exploit their beauty, their body, and that is what we can see. And it is not the first time. It has been there for many years. Now, with the advent of social media, people are talking about it. It's the first time so many people have talked about it. They are talking about not only the over-sexuality of Janhvi Kapoor in the film, but they are talking about how a director treats his female counterpart. So these are all elements now. Everything is debated, and that is a wonderful thing. Now is the time where we need to restrict this. This has been there. All your 80% of Tamil and Telugu cinema, if you see, there will be always a hero who will be harassing a girl, who will be from Kabir Singh to you take a name of Arjun Reddy or any film, 70 or the 80 film percent of the film are male oriented, where there is not much of author backed character written for the female leads, and that has been happening. But now with Janhvi Kapoor talking about it, with Hero talking about it, with social media erupting about it, this is the right time to address this issue. People should come up and
You're absolutely right.
they should talk about it. They should talk about, and basically, when a writer writes and a director writes, they should take this as a case study. If this happens in Peddi, it will happen to every film which will come after this. So this should serve as a notice to everybody who is making such films. And this film is not like this, such films will be at least 80 or 90, 80 to 70% of the films are like this in Tamil and Telugu stable.
No, I cannot sit here and listen to somebody saying that, sir, you have no status, no basis to virtue call like that. Let us call out the Indian movie mentality. So don't think it's restricted to Tamil and Telugu. We learn, a lot of us learn certain moves. I mean, how many dance sequences do you want me to point out in Hindi movies? So let's not make this about Bollywood versus the South. We have most
I think this is an Indian cinema problem at large. This is an Indian cinema problem at large.
Let's not like that.
No,
you want to talk about sleazy
to...
dance moves?
Yes.
You want to talk about all sorts of copied moves that people are aping from the West? You want to talk about the post-kiss scene without consent in Dayavan, which was such a controversy in that day and age? So let's not sit here and act like you're holier than thou.
We are not. We are not talking about that.
Let us unite.
Right. It is a united problem, I agree.
In condemning what is being happening.
There were more instances, that is all. Obviously,
no,
Hindi also does the same.
It just means that you've been watching some sleazy movies from the South. That
Not
just means you have watched, okay? Don't say that. Don't say that.
Let's try and avoid maligning one particular movie industry. This is an Indian cinema problem. Let's just stick to that at the moment. Gautam, Nitya Menon, she's come out, urging that actors must establish boundaries and say no. You earlier said that, the filmmaker now apologizing is, just damage control. It's not accountability at all. Why do commercial films repeatedly reduce female leads to romantic props, whilst the male, they get the actual character arcs, they get the conflict, they get the growth? Of course, we've got some other examples as well. We've got Piku, we've got Dangal comes to my mind. You've got several other female-specific, female-focused movies as well. But female characters in many of those big masala, big budget films are still written off as romantic accessories. I think it's high time we start changing that as well. And you came out with that book on Pink as well.
No, you have a very valid point here. I don't think that it is something which has not been called out earlier. This issue has been there for a very long time.
Yeah,
it's a dichotomy where the big ticket names happen to be male. But a film and the kind of characters that most of these male actors play, they would be incomplete without, the so-called supporting cast, the female lead and everything. So it's a team sport. Filmmaking is a team game.
All right.
I think somewhere this mindset of big ticket filmmakers is not going to change so easily. There is OTT which has given you an example that how subject-driven material will always find an audience. They will tell you that the public does not want this. They will tell you that jo bikta hai wahi chalega. They will give you all sorts of logic. But I think somewhere when you make reasonable budgets and when you make a reasonable product, if you want to call a film that, then every film stands a chance to being successful. If you are going to pay the leading man 100 crores or 70 crores or 80 crores, then where do you have the money to make the film? Then you will have to resort to some kind of gimmickry. It could be some kind of political statements. It could be some kind of a politically incorrect statement. It could be something, aap trailer bana do, it will evoke such a bad reaction from people that you will get the eyeballs. So somewhere the whole idea is that you are not coming up with subjects which people will enjoy. That is why you're resorting to all sorts of gimmickry. I think somewhere this is going to change, but it will take a longer time. Here, in this particular case, I think this can become a yardstick because the director, post the release, has kind of apologized. But then my argument here is very simply this, that uh, it was being shot. You see the rushes, you see the edit, you see the first cut, you say okay to the release, you have a premiere, you talk about it. All this while you did not have a problem. When you reportedly raised an issue while the film was being shot, and now the director has to apologize. So I think I'm not giving anybody a clean sheet here, or I'm not singling out somebody. I am saying that even the post-release reaction reeks of a gimmick-oriented marketing trick. So if that is the case, then people were completely right in calling out. People will always call out something that stands out. I mean, the three of us here on the panel, including you, are on the same page, come to think of it. So are the people who are watching this film and reacting to it. So are the actors. My argument or my humble submission is that Ram Charan Teja wields more power than just telling the director that don't do this. And then going ahead with the release of the film and the promotion and everything, and then weeks later or days later after the release of the film, the director decides to make some changes. So if we want to change it, then the change has to come from within the industry, yes, and it is up to the male leads, because unfortunately or fortunately, they are driving this market right now, or at least in the minds of the producers. So I think this can become a bend in the road where you take a conscious call to make sure that these things don't happen again.
Kasturi, do you concur with what Mr. Chintamani here is saying? Because the bigger question will now then become who bears greater responsibility. Is it the director who is shooting the scene? Is it the writer? Is it the actor who's performing it? Or the audience that ends up rewarding it at the box office?
You know, at the end of the day, you got to be honest. People will start mass producing whatever has succeeded in the past. So whatever sells, this is an easy sell. You know, they used to say nothing sells like sex and Shah Rukh Khan. You know, that's what they used to say about Bollywood movies. And I also want to point out here, just like the other speaker had a stereotype about South movies, he said Tamil and Telugu movies are sleazy. For the most of them are like this. You know, South filmmakers have a stereotype about Bollywood actors, female actors. They think Bollywood actors are okay with any amount of exposure, and most Bollywood female actors have a difficulty. They have a liability. What that is they don't understand the language. They don't know what they're saying. They don't watch the movie in dubbing, during dubbing. I don't think Janhvi Kapoor dubbed for herself. So there's no way they know what's being shot on. They have no chance to see what's going on. And they're unaffected by it because it's a Telugu movie. It's never going to hit anything in Hindi. Only after the pan-Indian movie situation rose in India that it has even become something that people above the Vindhyas are noticing. So I think Janhvi Kapoor particularly, because she's Sridevi's daughter and she understands Telugu and she probably actually watched the movie. That's why this has actually become an issue. Otherwise, for all other Hindi actors, they act, they get paid, they go away. They don't care.
That's a good point. And, you know, there's one more important aspect that came out amidst those leaked chats was when Janhvi Kapoor allegedly, purportedly in one of those chats said that, you know, look at Sri Leela. She always is accompanied by her mother. She's always there. If my father would come to the set, they'd quickly pack it all up. They'd quickly pack it up and then move on. And that says a lot about, you know, what kind of parental guidance needs to come with all these young actors that are now coming into the fray as well. I'm being told that we're going to slip into a quick commercial breather here, but there are a couple of things that are still left to be decoded that's going to come right on the other side. Kasturi, Mr. Chintamani, Girish ji, please stay on with us right on the other side. Some more questions as well. Welcome back. The film is a hit, but the backlash is only getting louder. We're talking about the film Peddi that has allegedly reduced its leading woman, Janhvi Kapoor, to a prop for the male gaze. And we're asking why does Indian cinema constantly cycle back and keep finding itself at the center of the same debate? With us on the broadcast, Kasturi Shankar, actor and social activist, Gautam Chintamani, author, writer and film historian, Girish Wankhede, film trade analyst. I'm going to quickly go across the board once more. Kasturi, first and foremost, you spoke about how Janhvi is more aware. She's more, how the Gen Z call woke. She knows what's happening when it comes to the dubbing. Others are just, giving their shots and then just going away. They're not even bothered or concerned about the dubbing. We're seeing a situation where actresses themselves are increasingly pushing back against such portrayals. Talk to us about the industry. Has the industry finally reached a point where female actors, female actresses can openly draw boundaries without fearing career consequences? Because that's a big aspect that women actresses go through.
I think the answer is a yes and no, and mostly yes. I think times have changed. Today, the girls who come into the industry are well educated. They have backup options. Some of them are actually successes in other fields before they come into the movie industry. Also, the way people come in has also changed. There was a time when you had to go audition in 100 places, go to all, you meet all sorts of people, you win some, you lose some. But now, social media has completely opened a new door for you. So you can actually come in as a celebrity. You can come in as a known face. Yeah, people know when they cast you what they can expect from you, because you have a social media presence, you're an Insta sensation, you're a dancing sensation, whatnot. So I believe that today, not just lead actresses, but also supporting cast, not just female, also male actors, do have it easier than, say, 20, 30 years ago when I came into the industry.
Yeah.
I'll be very brutally honest. There have been many movies from which I've been thrown out for one of two reasons. Either I wasn't comfortable with the exposure on screen, or I wasn't comfortable with off-screen demand. We've seen it all. So I believe right now the industry, Bollywood is completely professional. I believe the South Indian industry is also very qualified and professional these days. Look at the movies that are coming out of Malayalam. Look at the kind of people getting called out in Malayalam. You can't mess with a female actor today without getting really
absolutely.
ostracized.
I remember speaking to Shweta Menon after she took the helm of affairs with the AMMA as well, and of course the entire row surrounding AMMA. How people and especially women really started raising their voice. That's a credible point. But I'm going to again circle back and highlight the operative portion from your opening submission, which was that yes, this is a shortcut and yes, it's unfortunate, but consent is something that just cannot be undermined. Mr. Wankhede, cinema reflects society, but it also shapes it. I think it was Wordsworth who said that life imitates art and art imitates life. It's a vicious cycle. And the operative point here being that when harassment is sold as romance, women reduced to camera angles, perhaps it's now time that we collectively, ask not what the audience is going to tolerate, but what the industry should now be courageous enough to outgrow from.
Exactly. Industry should be more experimental, they should be more courageous, and they should avoid what we have been seeing for all these 30 or 40 years. Well, there is male chauvinist films, there is this patriarchy in the films, there are woman characters who are reduced to just for the male gaze. So this has to be changed, and it's almost everywhere. Now the foremost thing is it's the responsibility of the director. A director is the one who makes the film. He is the visionary. It is his story. He is the one who greenlights the story, the screenplay, the characters, screen presence, everything. So he has to be more responsible. He has to be educated, learned, and he has to be updated with how the social media, how the new ideas, how the new generation is looking at the film. Now with OTT, we have a wonderful worldwide exposure. We see how women characters are filled with the author-backed roles. We see how they develop. So this is the new audience. Here we can't go with the same tropes of 80s and 90s, which you have been doing for the years. So this particular film, Peddi, falls in the same category what we used to see in the past also, where we are demeaning the female characters. So it has to change, and this what we are debating and what the entire industry is talking about on social media is for the right cause. We are moving in the right direction. This directors has to be more responsible.
Absolutely.
Yes.
100%. I mean, commercial mass cinema is becoming too dependent on sexualization and the shock value that, all my panelists were speaking about to generate that audience engagement. But a heroine deserves a character, not just a close-up. And respect should never be edited in only after the backlash begins. Kasturi, Mr. Chintamani, and Mr. Wankade, many thanks for taking out the time.